5 months have elapsed since September 9th, a day when Kenyans and the globe were treated unto the news of the cold murder of renowned city lawyer Kyalo Mbombu, who was murdered by a gunman who shot him 8 times on a motorcycle on his way home. What followed was a report from the government pathologist Johansen Odwor, who said the renowned city lawyer died due to excessive bleeding. A report from the government and the police says that they are ongoing investigations. To date, no one has been brought to book. Till when will these cases of unresolved murder continue reigning in the land of Kenya? Who wanted the astute, diligent barrister dead? I'm Matthew Perez Adungo, and this is Unresolved Murder, only on Newsworld TV.
Kyalo ndio mtoto wangu ya pili, na ni mzuri, anafanya mambo mazuri.
Apprehending the killers is a matter of top priority for us.
Mr. Mbombu was my teacher,
and when you look at the way that great lawyer was killed, those are professionals.
I lost a friend and a brother and an advisor.
Tuesday, September 9, 2025 was a day like any other. The sunrise, melody of the beautiful birds of the air, and in the Kenyan context, the morning traffic was usual. And for a matter of fact, the nation was peaceful and with no height of demonstrations in the streets of the capital, Nairobi. Kyalo woke up super early. Dressed sharp in a blue shirt, red tie, and navy blue suit, focused and ready for battle in the courtroom. As couples would do best, he perhaps kissed his wife, the best goodbye ever, and aware that this would be the last sweet moment he would ever enjoy. As celebrated city lawyer Kyalo Mbombu prepared for court, elsewhere his death was brewing. Matthew Kyalo Mbombu was much more than a private legal practitioner. Tributes from colleagues, former students and civic leaders painted a picture of a law lecturer, author, mentor, and former chair of the political parties disputes tribunal.
a wonderful man. He was, I can say, one of my best teachers. Anybody who studied evidence at the University of Nairobi School of Law remembers his diligence, commitment, hard work, and clarity of mind. Very eloquent, very knowledgeable, and has left a big legacy in our country, particularly in the legal profession. His book on evidence and his research and works on the field of law shall always be remembered in this country for many, many years.
It won't be justice if we don't inform you that Kyalo Mbombu was born in Mayani village in Makueni County and was married to Anne Mwende, who together had 3 children. A man who sold himself out to protect lives, but as the irony of life will have it, he failed to protect his own. Newsworld TV pieces together events before the slain lawyer died, giving crucial attention to at least the last 12 hours. Tuesday morning, September 9, 2025, Zao Mutua, an advocate and friend of Mbombu, says the slain lawyer offered to make copies of his book, The Law of Evidence, for donation to Southeastern Law School. At 6:35 a.m., Kyalo arrived at his office at Townhouse along Counter Street. He checks in, then slowly proceeds to the ground floor to pick the day's newspaper from the security desk. He takes a lift, and 14 seconds later, on the 8th floor, he's seen heading to his office, based of the 9th floor. 10 minutes past 10 a.m., he for a moment steps out of his office and is seen conversing with a woman in the corridors before returning back. The woman, Newsworld TV has not been able to establish who she was and what formed the basis of the conversation. At 11 a.m., Kyalo Mbombu arrived at the Sagret Hotel along Milimani Road, and with him 3 men. Their meeting would stretch for 3 good hours. These men were not aliens to city lawyer Kyalo Mbombu. As a matter of fact, they were his neighbors at his home in the famous Karen. And as word will have it, some days they even did morning runs in a bid to eradicate their threatening pronounced belly. Our big ask is, how could neighbors decide to have a meeting at the Sagret Hotel, or how urgent was their meeting that it couldn't wait for the morning run? Put a finger there, we'll come back. At exactly 1:45 p.m., Kyalo Mbombu left Sagret Hotel, returning to his office at Chester House. At 5:09, he left Chester House for his home in Boyani in Karen. Little did he know that just outside the lift was a man dressed in a black jacket with a bag strapped on his back, whose CCTV footage shows him making calls. Whether it was a fake call or not, we'll get to know. The man is keen, and immediately the author of the Law of Evidence starts his journey home via Water Street. The man leaves too immediately, following the slain bespectacled barrister, who by that time passed through City Hallway, Parliament Road, Uhuru Highway, Nyayo Roundabout, and then Langata Road. By the time he was getting to Magadi Road, it was already 5:40 p.m. and as usual in the city of Nairobi, traffic built up along the busy Magadi Road. The traffic was a disadvantage to Kyalo Mbombu, who perhaps due to a frantic day needed to get home quickly as possible, freshen up and prepare for the next day undertaking, representing a client whom will disclose so soon. For the assailants, the traffic was prerogative. On the scene, 2 men on a motorbike trapped Mbombu's vehicle. One dismounts, walks slowly, no sweating, no trembling hands, takes his time, pulls his ammunition, and does the gruesome. He shoots Kyalo Mbombu on the neck and chest 8 times with a chilling precision, rendering the man who defended the public in court defenseless. The killer calmly walks away, mounts on an awaiting bike, and disappears into the thin Nairobi's secretful night. The scene was bloody and horrific to say the least. Blood flowed like floodwater. He couldn't move and couldn't plead for mercy and justice, and neither did he have a chance to scream. Only the smell of blood was loud as he remained glued in his car. Confusion crept in. A murder in broad daylight. The public arrived asking what had transpired and who the perpetrators were. Nevertheless, the public was too late, since the former head of the political party's tribunal was already late. Then followed police reconstructions and CCTV analysis. They say the assailants trailed Mbombu from earlier in the day before approaching his car. Within the day of the shooting, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations (DCI) launched a full probe that included forensic examination of Mbombu's vehicle and the crime scene, analysis of the mobile phone and the CCTV data, identification of persons of interest linked to sightings with Mbombu prior to his brutal murder.
We have assembled a robust team from our homicide section. Like the IG has confirmed, we arrested 3 persons of interest to us. But after subsequent investigations, we released them.
Statements from the Director of Public Prosecutions, or DPP, mandated a quick turnaround on findings, placing pressure on police to produce their findings within the shortest timeline.
I will not disclose due to the sensitivity of the matter and the investigation and the fact that it might prejudice our investigations. But apprehending the killers is a matter of top priority for us, and I would like to assure Kenyans that sooner or later we are going to arrest all the persons behind the arrest of the deceased.
An autopsy conducted by Chief Government Pathologist Johansen Oduor confirmed that Mbombu was struck 8 times, suffering devastating wounds to the neck, spine and upper body that caused excessive internal bleeding, injuries overwhelmingly consistent with a deliberate and close-range shooting. Forensic teams recovered 2 bullet heads from his body. The remaining rounds passed entirely through, leaving telltale entry and exit wounds. No valuables were taken from the scene, and the manner of the killing led investigators to classify the incident early on as a targeted execution rather than a robbery.
We were able to recover 2 bullets, which have been given to the investigating officer for ballistic purposes. So he bled, there's a lot of bleeding because there was a injury to the neck vessels. There's also injury to the spine.
The funeral rites will later proceed under strict family directives, with some media barred from covering the requiem mass, a move that sparked questions about the openness around the case and privacy. In subsequent weeks, 3 persons who had initially been arrested in connection with the killing were cleared of involvement after forensic and alibi checks showed no credible links to the murder.
Like the IG has confirmed, we arrested 3 persons of interest to us. But after subsequent investigations, we released them, but they still remain persons of interest to us.
Let's fast track a little bit. In the day when respected advocate of the High Court of Kenya and prominent figure in Nairobi's legal community was ambushed and fatally shot along Magadi Road while driving home in Karen, he is said to have met 3 men. 1. Paul Mbugua, George Wainaina and Muhia. These men were not ordinary men. And as a matter of fact, they were neighbors with the slain city lawyer. It's even said that they will do morning runs in the name of tummy reduction. Is that not closeness? Well, why did they opt for a meet-up at Sagret Hotel for a 3-hour-long conversation from 11:45 a.m. and not discuss the same subject during their morning runs? Or how urgent was the meeting? Wainaina told Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI that they only had lunch with his nephew Mbombu, yet CCTV footage showed him handing over documents to Muhia. Be it as it may, Wainaina isn't just any figure. He is the de facto KANU Party Secretary General. In the night of his arrest at his current home, DCI found 50 million shillings in Wainaina's house, and upon questioning, Wainaina told DCI that the money was from business. Think with me, in this digital world, who keeps 50 million in cash in the house when we have banks? In Kenya, any transaction above 1 million triggers scrutiny. It begs the question, was the money just ordinary cash, or was it from business? And if yes, which business had the struggling KANU Party's Secretary General Wainaina done or secured? The DCI to date has not pinned any suspect in regards to the lawyer's cold murder. But one thing bothers the nation: the conduct of the DCI in handling this matter. The Kenyan DCI has been ranked one of the best in the continent. This is the same unit that tracked the killers of Charles Ongondo Were within days his murder was kilometers away in Siaya County. Why is the DCI operating so slow in tracing the killers of Kyalo Mbombu, whose murder was in broad daylight in a less busy Magadi Road and in the radius of the city? If you see a hyena abandon a zebra mid-chase, it can only mean a lion is on the horizon. It makes unresolved murders ask, are the DCI hands-tied, and if yes, by who? The manner at which the murder of the renowned city lawyer was executed is so disheartening. First, the courage of the killer dismounts on a motorcycle, no panic, empties 8 bullets, then walks calmly and mounts on the motorcycle, and away they leave, never to be traced, in a city that has CCTV cameras at strategic locations. This was beyond courage. The killer wasn't an amateur, but a master, not new to his job. Think with me, if a killer chooses to execute cold murder in broad daylight, he knows one thing: the police are not people to fear, and neither are the courts. The killer is shielded by the deep state. Newsworld TV pieces together these chronic findings out of one man, Kungu Muigai, the chairman of the Kenya Council of Elders, who emerges from the Kenyatta family. Kyalo Mbombu was a man he has come a long way with, one of his trusted barristers.
Advocate Bob Kyalo, we are related by marriage very closely. So he was my lawyer and he was also family. That I lost a friend and a brother and an advisor.
In this cold murder of Kyalo Mbombu, his voice can't be assumed. On the morning of 9th September, Kungu Muigai poured out his frustrations to the public, explaining the painful history of corruption, intimidation, and judicial capture.
And the heartbeat of corruption in this country is the judiciary. If we can stop that heartbeat, this corruption dragon will die. And Kenyans, you owe it to our youth, you owe it to our children and grandchildren. We must fight. We cannot leave this country to them the way it is. I recognize the danger I face for standing here saying this, but I'm ready to pay the ultimate price. I am ready to die.
He went further and promised to hand over the evidence to the press on the following day, that is 10th of September, and Kyalo Mbombu's hands were the one to receive the hot and detailed evidence connected to an ongoing high-profile land dispute.
I have been asked what my connection was with the late lawyer and why I think or why I would feel that his life was in danger. As I have explained before, me and the late Kyalo, we were dealing with what I can call a criminal enterprise composing of senior judges in this country, led by the Chief Justice, Martha Koome, Supreme Court judges, and Court of Appeal judges. These judges facilitated the Kenya Commercial Bank to use a non-existent court order, a non-existent judgment, to dispose our property, a 450-acre coffee farm in Thika, valued at 3.5 billion, but sold for only 70 million. The reason for this, the property was bought by Mr. Kamresh Rahul, bid of BD Kenya Limited. After he bought the farm for 70 million, 3 months later, he sold it to the Indian Shah community. They bought the property for 3.5 billion after 3 months. And this is the source of the money that's been bribing these judges and the officials of Kenya Commercial Bank. I'd say Bob Kyalo is my lawyer. And indeed, Bob Kyalo was one of my witnesses who was going to give evidence about how various judges have been bribed with a lot of money. And he was also the custodian of very, very crucial evidence. He was holding 4 affidavits from our witnesses who either participated or were privy to the giving of bribes to the judges. He was also a custodian of 2 audio recordings, which were actually recorded when these judges were being bribed. It's a sad day.
However, the evening of 9th September was highly contended, as Kenyans awaited the unheard of raw evidence of recordings of secret conversations and bribery. They were served with the news of Kyalo Mbombu's murder.
Kyalo Mbombu
reacted with shock and outrage to the killing of respected High Court advocate Kyalo Mbombu.
It was a do or die. Kyalo Mbombu was not allowed to go beyond 6 p.m., ultimately ending one of the most impactful legal careers in recent Kenyan history. Was this a coincidence? Away from the Kungu Muigai high-profile land dispute case that could have led to the murder of the University of Nairobi's alumni, Kyalo Mbombu, shortly after his death, emerging financial records revealed that Mbombu was managing significant personal debts, reportedly exceeding 261 million, including disputes over withheld client funds and ballooning loan balances. Some sources even suggested that his connections to high-stakes financial deals may have exposed him to dangerous networks. Separately, authorities have considered whether Mbombu's legal practice itself led to fatal retaliation, possibly from parties unhappy with litigation outcomes or his public stances in contentious commercial matters. However, to date, no definite link has been publicly established between his legal work and the attack. The country, including the legal fraternity, civil societies, expressed deep shock and called for comprehensive investigations. Notwithstanding the peaceful demonstrations from the Law Society of Kenya (LSK), demanding transparent updates and protective measures for legal practitioners, was just but vapor.
Justice for Wakili.
More than 6 months after Kyalo Mbombu's killing, key questions still endure. Who precisely ordered and carried out the assassination, and why? Was his murder connected to professional threats, financial entanglements, or criminal networks? Why have confirmed suspects not yet been charged publicly? How do you explain this to the public, that the evidence so far from the highly technical CCTVs that the country and the county spent almost $500 million to install data centers, CCTV footage at strategic locations in the city, are not enough to pin the assailants? As investigations continue to piece together mobile phone data, CCTV footage, witness testimonies, and digital trails, all in pursuit of justice for a life cut far too short, it's worrying how the process is totally slow.
To say we are following this number of suspects. They could be 1, they could be 2, they could be 10. So it is after we conclude the investigation that we'll be able to make a determination who are the persons culpable. But apprehending the killers is a matter of top priority for us, and I would like to assure Kenyans that sooner or later we are going to arrest all the persons behind the arrest of the deceased advocate.
The nation, from courtrooms to community halls, still waits for answers.
So I have explained to the DCI that what I know that criminal enterprise of senior judges, Kenya Commercial Bank, and the Shah community should be investigated because they have the motive and they have the opportunity to carry out that murder.
This is Unresolved Murder, only on Newsworld TV, and I'm Matthew Perez Adungo.